Hello friends, Happy New Year and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you may still not know what's going on here. Today is the first day of a new deep dive series into the Egyptian Tarot by C.C. Zane and the Brotherhood of Light. And I did an introduction video to this series already. And if you haven't seen that, it's not necessary, but you might want to check it out. So I'll put a card up here for you to hop over and take a look at that. I'm not going to do another introduction to this first episode of this series of, I'm assuming will be about 50. And if you are a returning visitor, you'll notice that I'm not in my office. I'm going to be doing these from both my home and when I go to work in a camp far away from home. So you won't be seeing my regular location, but enjoy. So like I said, I'm not going to do a full introduction, but I realized I forgot to mention a couple of things when I did my introduction, so I'd like to mention them here. The first one was, why in the heck did I decide to use these decks? Well, I discussed why I chose to work with the Tarot of the Holy, not the Tarot of the Holy Light, why I chose to work with the Egyptian Tarot in my introduction video. However, maybe you're wondering why I decided to pair the Egyptian Tarot with the Tarot of the Holy Light, which is the deck I'm going to be using as my companion tarot deck, my helper deck, my assistant deck, the deck that will help me expand on and reveal meaning from the card, the daily draw that I'm going to do from the Egyptian Tarot. Why did I choose that deck? Well, actually I had thought of many decks. My first thought had been to use my black and white version of the Tarot of the Holy Light. But then I thought, no, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I want to put up a couple of other contenders. So what I did is I used my pendulum. I used my pendulum to do a yes or no for the decks I thought as possibilities. I thought of going back to the Light Seers Tarot. I thought of using my Thoth deck. I thought of using Tarot de Marseille. I thought that would be an interesting combination, Tarot de Marseille and the Egyptian Tarot, and my black and white Tarot of the Holy Light. And they were all rejected by my pendulum. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just pull out my full color version of the Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler, the beautiful creator of that deck. And the pendulum said, yes, yes, emphatically, yes. And so I thought, okay, well, I want to double check. I wanted to double check because I've been using that specific deck for a while now. I did my first deep dive series with that deck, and I thought it would be nice to maybe branch out into the black and white version or maybe use another deck. And so, like I said, my pendulum said, no, use this deck. But I wanted to be sure. So I decided to do a 3-card spread. And let me show you that 3-card spread that I threw, confirming whether or not to use this deck with the Egyptian Tarot. Here it is. Interesting, no? Interesting, yes. So what did you see? You saw that there were 2 4s, right? 2 4s and then the Empress. 1 4 upright, 1 4 reversed, and then the Empress. So right off the bat, I got that sense of, okay, stability. We got 2 4s balancing out. And then we've got a 3, the Empress of creativity. How could that be a no card? So the first card you saw was the 4 of Swords from the Tarot of the Holy Light. This card right here, it was upright. Yeah. So what do we see in this card? We see Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury, communication, right? In Aquarius, moving forward, the thought card, the air card, the air sign of movement forward into the future, the innovator. So that sounded like a good idea. But also notice on the art of the card, we have the hermaphrodite, right? We have the male and female joined here in one body, which gave me a really good feeling for, joining these two decks. They're very different decks. I'm not going to say which one would be the male and which one is going to be the female, but these two are different systems. They put different astrological associations on the cards. The Egyptian tarot, as you will see a little bit later, the elements are on two of the suits are flipped around, so they're very different decks. But we've got this idea of, for me, stability with the 4, thought, and the joining of the 2. And then right next to it, we had a card in reverse, right? Which I think gave me a little bit of caution here. Now, the 4 of discs, when it's upright, here we have the upright card. This upright card has come to me very often recently, the 4 of discs. What do we have here? We have a Taurus ruled by Mercury. We got Mercury in Taurus, and Taurus is going to be an important thing for us to remember for the rest of this video. But we've got Mercury in Taurus, and which is good, but we've got the sense of privilege and the burdens of privilege, and we've got the 4 elements being sat on by the eagle of the Empress. Yeah, remember we got the Empress there too, the Creatrix. Those 4 elements being, what am I saying? They're being prepared to be hatched by the eagle, which is also a symbol of regality and the emperor and the empress. So we got that there too. But in reverse, there's the possibility of the of there being some conflict. Yeah, of there being some conflict in the actual working out of things here. So while the intellectual sphere in the swords is progressive, there might be some conflict in the working out of the 2 things together, which will want to be addressed because they are different. And then the 3rd card being the Empress, I thought, yes, definitely, we got to use these 2 decks together. The Empress, creativity, yeah. In the Tarot of the Holy Light, this is Venus, yeah, beauty, fertility, yeah, power, female power, which I love that. So that 3-card spread just confirmed for me that yes, this was the deck I want to use with the Egyptian Tarot. So that's that. So how am I going to work with this deck? If you saw my previous deep dive with the Tarot of the Holy Light, you'll know that what I'm going to do is every day I'm going to draw 1 card from the Egyptian Tarot. And then to help me unpack that, I'm going to draw 3 cards from the Tarot of the Holy Light, which I'm more comfortable with now. And that will help me unpack the card I'm looking at from the Egyptian Tarot. And then I'll live my day. And at the end of the day, I'll go back and I'll read the guidebook and I'll see how the meanings and the things that I saw in the deck at first and then at the end of the day, how they revealed themselves for me during the day. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's what I did. And so, for this video, for the first day, for the first draw, I got these cards. Let me show you them right now. So the first 2 cards you saw were very similar, right? They're from 2 different decks for the Egyptian Tarot. There's the very, very modern, redrawn color version of the tarot, the Egyptian Tarot, which is the one that I'm using, the one I'm shuffling. This is the deck I'm shuffling. This is the one that wouldn't bother me if I got it a little bit damaged because I can get another copy of it very easily. And beside it is, you saw, the black and white, well, the charcoal gray and white version, which I think was published around 1964, my birth year, but it might have been published a little bit later, printed a little bit later. So, and this deck I don't want to shuffle because it's precious to me. So I shuffle this, I draw this from this deck, and then I put this one beside it so that I see both the color version and the black and white, the gray and white version. And I don't know if you'll notice, but there are some differences. Yeah, the constellations are drawn differently in the two decks, so that'll be informative. And then you saw the 3 cards that I drew from the Tarot of the Holy Light for today. And we'll get to these cards in just a little bit. Let's start out with the main card. Yeah, the King of Swords. Now, little story. I shuffled the deck. I shuffled this deck, the color version, right? Shuffled the deck, I pulled the card. The King of Swords. Now, don't freak out. The King of Swords. The swords suit in this deck is the Earth suit. The coins suit in this deck is the Air suit. And that's just something we're going to have to get our heads around. Yeah, so there are other decks who have changed the elements and the suits around in the past. Yeah, the Uds Picard deck changes the cups and the swords. Yeah, swords are emotion, cups are mind. Yeah, there are other decks that switch swords and wands around. This deck switches coins, discs, and swords. So this card is the King of Earth, even though it's a sword. We just got to get over that. Okay, so if that's a problem for you, come with me. I got over it. Some things that I thought, with the help of Christine Payne-Towler, one thing is that thoughts become things. This is how we think our material realm into existence. And so the coins are what we think about, the material realm. Another way to think of it is swords are made out of metal, which comes from the earth, right? And then the coins are really the only meaning that coins have are the concept that we place on them, right? Coins are a representation of our concept of value. So there are ways that you can work around these things. Unfortunately, the zodiac signs follow the elements, they don't follow the suit. So even though this is the swords, the zodiac sign is an earth sign. Now it's a Taurus. And so I'm still at the story. I still haven't gotten to the story. So I pulled this card and I reorganized these decks so that I reorganized the black and white deck so that I could find the cards more easily. I organized the cards in a way that makes sense to me. First the majors, and then I put in the fire suit, then I put in the cup, the water suit, and then I put in the air suit, which is discs, and then at the back I put the earth suit, which is swords. And then I ordered them from ace to 10, and then the court cards, the way that I remember them most easily, I put the page, then the knight, then the queen, then the king. Now, in this deck, the knights are different. The knights actually could go at the very end, but for my ease of finding things so I don't have to think about it too much, I put them in that order. So, again, I pulled, where's my card? Where's my black and white card? My black and white card has flown the coop again. Okay, well, I'll get to that in just a moment. So I shuffled the deck. So this is becoming very funny for me. I shuffled the deck, I got this card, and so I knew that this would be the last card in the deck, the way I ordered it. And I opened up my gray and white deck, and I looked for it, and it wasn't there. It should have been the last card. And it wasn't there. I went through all the cards. I tried to find it, and I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. This was the only card that was out of order. I'd somehow stuck it in the majors. Somehow. When I put it back in its bag, I don't know how I did that, but for some reason, this was the only card that was out of order, and it took me a good time to find it, and I was worried, oh my God, first card, and apparently I've lost one card out of the deck, and it's my first card for the series. What's up with that? So I finally found it. But now you can see that I can't find it again. Let me go find the card. I don't know, I can't see where I put it. Just a moment. The card was underneath my knee. So, like I said, this card wants to hide on me. I drew this card, couldn't find it, found it. Go to record, showed you both cards, and then this card goes on vacation. I had to go find it again. So what are these cards? So what do we have? We've got Taurus here, right? The King of Swords in this deck is Taurus. And Taurus points to what? Fixed earth, right? Fixedness of an earth sign. This energy enters the world and it highlights things that are about being reserved, perhaps sullen, but practical and self-reliant. Now, some of the negative traits of Taurus can be being a little bit, well, for want of a better word, stubborn. Yeah, and I've got a stubborn streak in me, for sure. So there are negative and positive aspects to all signs, right? What we think of those signs that many of us think are bright and shining signs of the zodiac have dark sides, and some of those dark signs like Scorpio have very bright and shining aspects as well. Taurus, some of the dark stuff is the stubbornness and being kind of sullen, yeah, but very self-reliant, very practical, enjoys the material realm, enjoys stuff and money, which can result in a kind of a greedy kind of aspect, but can also be, it can be generous, an enjoyment of using money, right? The enjoyment of being in opulence, but in a good sense, yeah? Kind of that Nine of Pentacles for a Rider-Waite-Smith, kind of enjoyment of money. Also, it's a sign that wants to go at their own pace. Yeah, no one's going to rush a Taurus, but they move, perhaps a little slow, a little steady, but at their own pace. Nobody's going to move them forward at a pace that doesn't suit the Taurus personality. They're stable. Yeah, they're reliable. You can trust a Taurus to do things that they say that they're going to do. But again, they can be stubborn and would benefit from being able to adapt better to different circumstances. What does that mean for me, for this situation? An interesting thing is that, now I'm not ready, okay, let's not go there. So that's how I'm beginning this series, yeah? That need for, the desire for, and the sense of doing things regularly, yeah? Doing things at the correct pace, not rushing things, enjoying the experience as much as possible, enjoying the stuff that I have to work with, this camera, this beautiful tablet that I'm using in front of me for my notes, the cards, I've got beautiful cards to work with, these two decks and the Tarot of the Holy Light. So enjoyment of all that stuffness, right? But to help me unpack this Taurus, these Taurian symbols, I pulled 3 cards from the Tarot of the Holy Light, right? And you saw them. First one, a very auspicious card, I think, was the 3 of Discs. Beautiful card. And the 3 of Discs in this deck is Mercury and Capricorn. We're going to see a lot of Mercury in these 3 cards, which is a good thing, because this is a series of communication. Mercury is writing, communication, all of that wonderful stuff. So Mercury running through these 3 cards is not surprising. Now we've got Mercury in this card. Where was I? Mercury and Capricorn. Capricorn. Well, okay, we'll get to that one soon. The next one was the Emperor. Really? Right? Jupiter. Fabulous. And this is going to be interesting as well. And then the third thing was, was a reversed card, right? It was the Seven of Swords, which is, when it's upright, it is Virgo in Gemini, right? Virgo in Gemini. But when it's reversed, we've got Mercury again. We've got Mercury in, and I made a note of that, Mercury in Sagittarius. Yeah? Mercury in a fire sign. So we got Mercury popping up a couple places here. So what does this all mean to me? Three of Discs, self-mastery. I'm sorry, mastery of self, and also mastery of a craft, achieving a masterwork. An initial balancing act. Yeah, we got both. If you look at this card, we've got both the male and the female, with a globe, a world of completeness between them. We got the sun and the moon in this globe between the male and the female, and above it, a soaring eagle, which is also important for me. But so the start new tasks, accomplishment, achieving a masterwork. And then we've got the Emperor, beautiful Jupiter card. And this is interesting for me because Jupiter, for me, is in Taurus in my chart. So Jupiter showing up in the Taurus card, paired with the Taurus card, was a perfect pairing. Yeah, we've got Jupiter here, and Jupiter, expansive, abundance, right? Nobility. Jupiter is also actively creative. Yeah, this is the Emperor card in the Tarot of the Holy Light. And for me, the Emperor is also, the Empress is the one who has space for creation in the natural sense of nature. And then the Emperor is the one who goes out and digs stuff. And think of Taurus. Now, Taurus, when is Taurus? Taurus is in the blossoming of spring on this, in the Northern Hemisphere. When the earth has softened and opened enough for us to work with it. And yes, Taurus is a fixed sign, but in the time of Taurus, we're more able to work with the soil and create with the soil than we were in perhaps Capricorn. And no, in Virgo we can work with the soil too, but this is the beginning of being able to work with the soil after the hardness of winter, right? So Jupiter here, that creativity, actively creating here with the earth in Taurus. Nobility, optimism also, right? Optimism and generosity and expansiveness and, like I said, abundance. So a great way to start this series. And the eagle, which was here at the top of the Three of Coins, is echoed here with our beautiful Jupiter Emperor card. You see the eagle there too, right? Eagle, nobility, prayers rising up. But it's also the storm bird of Jupiter, the bird of God, which is crowning the work of our male and our female on the Three of Coins, of discs. So, all wonderful. And then we've got a cautionary note here at the end. So, I didn't mention how I decided to read these cards, right? This is really scattered, I'm afraid. But when I laid these cards out, I decided to lay them out as energy, challenge, and advice. Energy, challenge, and advice. So the energy is the Three of Discs. An earth suit for Taurus makes perfect sense. And even though this is a Capricorn ruled by Mercury, it's an earth suit, so it's a good match. So we've got Taurus working to, expanded by Jupiter, working to find its masterwork, find its potential, find its potential achievement, its shining, crowning masterpiece. Jupiter, again, expansiveness, right? With the bird here as well. But then we've got this, so this is what I want to achieve. When I say challenge here, it could be, an obstacle, but it could also be something I want to achieve, right? Challenge could be both a positive thing and a negative thing. A challenge to become something or a challenge that could oppose. And for me, in this place, the Jupiter appearing in the challenge is something to achieve, something to aim towards, something to become. And so the advice here is to be careful, though. Be careful. The Seven of Swords here. What is the Seven of Swords? Like I said, in the upright position, it is Gemini. We've got a Mercury in Gemini, which is all fine. It could be clever, finding your own path. But reversed, I think it's saying, be careful. Yeah, you're doing your own thing, which is great. But don't try to be too clever. Don't try to cut corners, or don't try to be sneaky about things. Don't do the work like a Taurus should. Like a Taurus should do the work step by step by step. Don't try and go and steal the prize out of the hen house before you have accomplished the raising of the chickens on your own. You know what I mean? So that's what the cards showed me. And I think these three cards with the King of Swords together were advice for this series as a whole, and very appropriate for the first day of the series. I want to make a real movement towards, okay, so like I said, I've got to figure out how I want to write these notes in the future, because this all made sense to me before I started talking, and now that I'm talking, I'm skipping around, and hopefully I'm making sense here. So, what? Oh yes, okay, so one thing that I wanted to pull out is Jupiter in Taurus. I wanted to speak on that just a little bit more. When the two come together, it reminds us that the answers we seek are within us, right? We want to push past distractions. We want and tap into the innate wisdom that is within us. We want to make real movement towards a dream, a long-term goal. We want to make practical, planned to-do lists, start checking off items one by one until we get the result of what we want to be working towards. Jupiter's desire for growth in Taurus, his patient and headstrong demeanor, encourages us to try to trust the process and reach a clear, tangible level of success, which is why this appears as the advice. Don't do that. Do what I just said. Now, do the work step by step. So, Seven of Swords and Mercury, the dark side is cleverness is not going to get me where I want to go. So, how did my day go today? Well, I stayed home and recovered from last night. And I did order 2 books, which is a kind of a Tauran thing, I think. I ordered one reference book that I'm going to be using, that I'm already using in an electronic form. I wanted to get the actual book in my hands. This is a book by Doris Chase Doan and King Keys, which is a great companion book for reading the Egyptian Tarot. And the name of that book is How to Read the Tarot. Yeah, so I'm ordered an old edition of that from Abe's Books, and that's going to be coming after I get back from my winter camp. I also ordered the history and practice of magic by Paul Christian. Now, Paul Christian's, I didn't get that because of magic. I got it because Paul Christian also wrote on tarot and helped create a deck which both C.C. Zane, who is the creator of this deck, and also Pappas apparently seemed to have referred to in their work. So as background information, background knowledge, background resource, I ordered that. I also ordered 2 tarot decks for perhaps a later, for maybe a year from now. Yeah, they're going to be coming sooner. But after this year of working with the Tarot of the Holy Light, I'm very strongly considering doing a year practice with the Thoth decks. And so As companions to my Thoth decks, I wanted to get the Voyager Tarot and the Cosmic Tribe Tarot. And I wanted to get older versions of them, which I found at fairly good prices. So I ordered those today as well. It was after midnight, so today. So that was my day. And I also enjoyed the torta caprese that I made. A torta caprese, so I enjoyed the material stuff. I enjoyed eating, a Tauran thing to do. And like I said, I think these cards for today, the King of Swords, which is Taurus, and these cards as well, showed up for me and for us to give some advice for how to do this series. Now, when I first started my deep dive into the Tarot of the Holy Light, I noticed that this deck was being very kind, very friendly to me, helping me enter into the world of the deck. And I think the Egyptian Tarot is also being very kind to me and opening the door for me to enter the world of this deck as well. Because I'm going to read this deck as it is in its world, just as I read this deck as it is in its world. And yes, memories from my study of the Golden Dawn decks, that is going to come up. My study of other ways of reading Tarot de Marseille, that information is going to come up from time to time. But in the context of my reading this deck in its world and this deck in its world, and the reason I'm doing that is, and I'm doing that because I think that's correct, and I think that is correct, and that correctness was for me confirmed by this card here, the Four of Swords from the Tarot of the Holy Light. And of course, also the Empress card from the Tarot of the Holy Light, which I talked about at the beginning of this video, and now I'm back to, now I've got bookends. Okay, friends, so that is the end of this video. I hope this made sense. I'm going to work to be clearer and to have my notes a little bit better organized, I think. But because this is the first video of the series, I'm apparently trying to do too much at once. And maybe that is also what this card was trying to warn me of. Maybe I was still trying to be too clever. Maybe. Well, maybe. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. Do you think so? Let me know in the comments below. Friends, if you're still here with me, thank you for coming this far. And hit the thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you liked it and other people might enjoy watching this video and this series as well. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notification of when I upload videos. I'm going to try and do one a day, and but I'm not sure if I will be able to upload them on the same day that I record them. Things are going to start happening in my life, going to teach at a camp, so I'm not really sure how that schedule is going to work out, but I'm going to do my best to record one a day and upload one a day. So hit the alarm bell and comment below. I'd really love to hear what you think. Are you excited about entering into the world of the Egyptian Tarot? Do you have the Egyptian Tarot? Do you read with the Egyptian Tarot? Which version do you have? Do you have a better version than mine? This great? Do you have a clearer version of this? If you do, I'm so happy for you. I'm looking for one for myself. So friends, here we are, the end of the video. Thank you. And if now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.